This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty. All right. There he is. Are you recovered? Are you doing all right?
I'm all right. I'm holding up all right, man. It was a rough night last night for sure.
Yeah, because I can imagine it's got to be rough on anybody that counts on James Harden.
Yeah, he let us down last night for sure. It's been a rough series for James, man. There has to be a lot of changes done, but I want to give props to the Heat, man. I like to give it like I take it, and I thought the Sixers were going to win this series. I'm not going to make any excuses. The Heat were the better team, and they played a really physical defense. They got a lot tougher dudes, and that's what Philly's missing. So, props to them. But
it's just a better organization, top to bottom. That's really what it is. I think in the end, that's what's going to come through year in and year out when you compare Miami and Philly right now. Philly doesn't have their shit together. Miami's had their shit together for 25 years. So This is like nothing new for them, what they've done, because this is what's normal for them. This is like their 8th Eastern Conference Finals in I don't know how many years, almost like 15 or 18 years or something. It's stupid what they do. What they, it's just a great look, man. We watch the Marlins. They don't know what they're doing yet, right? Inter Miami hasn't figured it out. The Dolphins, we're hoping that this is now them figuring it out, but they haven't figured it out. The Panthers looks like they are now starting to figure it out. But the Heat, they're the one organization in town that they're the example, they're the pinnacle, and everybody else is trying to get to that point because they just do things the right way, top to bottom, 99% of the time. It's weird.
Yeah, there's a system to winning, and there's I hate the word culture because I think it's overused, but I do think there's a method to how you build a type of program where you can kind of insert different players. Like I was just watching last night, Max Strus, all series, a guy who was undrafted, kind of developed, and he might have been the second or third best player in the series all throughout. And it's just crazy, there's certain programs you can just plug and play. So, like, I thought, and I still think, that Philly was the more talented team in this series. But the Heat had the better system, the better culture, the better hustle, the better coaching. And that won out. And so I think that stuff matters. I think Philly, whether it's a new coach, whether it's tougher players, I think they can get there where they can get over Miami. But right now they weren't there. They weren't, I would have loved to see the series if Embiid was healthy the whole time. But watching Game 5 and Game 6, you just saw a team that even if they found a way to get past the Heat, they weren't ready yet. And this Heat team, they're built, they play above their talent. And I love Jimmy as the fit for them, man. I walked away last night and just was disappointed even more that Philly traded him to Miami because he's perfectly built for what they want to do.
That's part of being a good organization is identifying the right people and not the wrong people like James Harden. Where you and I disagree on Embiid's the most talented player, but Miami is way deeper than Philadelphia.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
So Miami is more Philly is not more talented than Miami.
So I look at talent different. I look at
Miami's like 10 or 11 deep, dude. Philly's not 10 or 11 deep.
Correct. Philly might be 6 or 7 deep, right? Yeah. But I guess when I refer to talent, I refer to high-end talent. I refer to the best players on the court. So
it's just one guy. Harden's done, bro. Harden's done. Harden's not Bam or Jimmy. He's neither one of those guys. Both of those guys are more important than James Harden any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Embiid is the only guy that nobody can match. He's a freak.
So Embiid's the most dominant big man since Shaq. I've said that. I
believe in that. I corrected you yesterday. Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan won more titles. They had a better team.
No, Tim Duncan came after Shaq. Tim Duncan came after Shaq.
I know,
you have to say the most dominant since Tim Duncan, not Shaq.
I think that Embiid as a player was more dominant than Duncan. So that's my belief. Maybe I'm skewed, but to me, Duncan and the Spurs
Mr. Fundamental.
Yes, yes. They were
I mean,
built like
that guy's so
they had a lot
dominant
of,
that he did everything right.
but
Like
he
everything.
wasn't. He was very good. I don't know if he was truly dominant on the level that Embiid was.
Oh my God.
Maybe
Wow.
I'm wrong, but that's what my view is. So I guess my point is that look, I think that Embiid's the best player on the court. Jimmy's the second best player on the court. This is where you and I disagree. I think that Harden and Maxey, even though Harden we needed more out of him, their top end talent at those two positions were better than anything the Heat had. And so what the drop off is after those three, I'd say the Heat got probably positions 4 through 9 better. And so the depth of the Heat.
Wow. I just Harden for me, he doesn't belong anywhere near several of Miami Heat players. I'll take Max Strus over James Harden right now.
Right. And so here's where you're differentiating on different things, right? Because Max Strus is a role player. He's not having the ball in his hand in a given player. He's making open shots, which he's playing the great role of a number 4 or number 5 player on your roster.
I know.
And we did not have that. So if Danny Green is making down shots like that, then maybe he looks like Max Strus, but he doesn't.
But Danny Green's 39 years old, bro.
Right, but
there's a reason why Danny Green is not Danny Green anymore.
Right, and that's to me what the biggest difference is. Your Max Struses are better than your Danny Greens. Your Tyler Heroes are better than your Shake Miltons. And so if every single player 4 through 11 is better than every single player we have 4 through 11, that's why you win the series. Not because your 1, 2, 3 is better than 1, 2, 3 there. Bam, I barely recognized Bam throughout the series. You know, Bam disappeared for much of the series, particularly offensively. He had a couple good plays
Bam's
on the
Bam will never be that guy offensively. Never.
And so to me, and Tyler Hero was up and down, and that's the 3 guy there, right? And so
but they're 10 deep. See, the difference is Philadelphia needs Maxey to do it every night because they have nobody else. But if Tyler doesn't do it, then Strus does it. And if Strus doesn't do it, then Butler does. And if Butler doesn't
I absolutely
do it,
agree.
somebody else. Hell, if you give Caleb Martin 25 minutes, he'll do it too.
And that's where we absolutely agree. I think the Heat might be the deepest team in the league. And that to me is a big asset. That's why they got past Philly, is because they were much deeper than them, not because they necessarily had the high-end talent.
And better coach.
Oh, absolutely. Better coach.
Doc is not even close to Spo. Not even in the same freaking, I don't know, a planetary place. They're not even in the same solar system. Let's put it that way.
You will not get a disagreement with me there. I think they're much better coached, much deeper, more physical, and more out hustled, right? The only thing I disagree with you, I think the top end talent for Philly is better, but the problem is they're so inconsistent, they're so unorganized, and they don't play at the consistent level that the Heat played, and that's why they're going home and the Heat are advancing. We saw it in game 3 and 4.
Are these idiots really going to re-sign Harden? Because I get that they gave up a ton of stuff, but sometimes maybe you got to, like I tell my man Omar, who refuses to take an L at any time whatsoever. Like Omar will never admit that he got something wrong. But what's it called? This is one where you may have to, because if you actually give this guy a long-term contract, I mean, that is catastrophically stupid.
So what I would do if I was a GM here, and I'm not, people will tell me to stick to football, but I would let him go ahead and pick up his player option. He's got a player option that's $45, $46 million, way more than I want to pay him. It's a way too high salary. But for me, that gives him 1 year prove-it situation. He says he's going to work this off season. I don't know if I believe him, but we're going to see. He said he's going to try to get himself back in shape. And he said that. So at least he has an awareness that he's out of shape.
Did they put a half court at Tootsies? You got a half court at Tootsies now? Is that what it is?
The first step is admittance, right? You got to get past denial. So he doesn't deny that he's out of shape. So now we have to get him to the point that he's actually doing the work and getting back. I don't think he'll ever be Houston James Harden, but he has to be where he can be conditioned to play deep into the second half. All through the series, he was aggressive in the first half, and he laid off in the second half. And so he had a hamstring injury, but I don't like to make excuses. I think that he has to get better this offseason. So I put him get him the player option, make some changes in the coaching staff, bring in some better role players, run it back one more year. If he can't go next year, if he's not the guy, then you move on after that. And so that gives you 2 years of James Harden. You're not committed long term. I would definitely not give him that 5-year max extension. That would be the last thing I did. But I also don't get rid of him after 1 year, really 1/2 a year in Philly. I give him a whole nother year, a whole nother offseason with Embiid, and we see if it works.
One knucklehead about another knucklehead. Amari Stoudemire says James Harden's poor play in Game 6 looked intentional because it seems like he doesn't want Doc as the head coach.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree. I don't know
Well, here's the problem I have with all of this.
Yeah.
James Harden, who the hell are you, bro? What have you done?
Right.
What have you won? All you ever do is complain and leave one situation after another, and you whine like a little bitch, and you choke like a dog in every big moment you've ever been in since the Heat actually seduced you back in Oklahoma City and made you look like a fool. So, you have been a notorious choker. James Harden has to get to a point where he stops pointing fingers and looking in the mirror and blaming himself for the position that he's put himself in.
And there's no excuses for James. I think he deserves a lot of this criticism. A lot of times I think that sometimes the criticism is too harsh. Not in this situation. I think he deserves everything that he's getting. He's supposed to be a star. He did not play like a star. He disappeared. He had 0 points in the second half. He had the same amount of points as you and me, Big O. We had the same amount of points as James Harden in the second half.
No, the bad part is when he starts looking like me. That's not the good thing. Yeah, he needs to look like you. You're in shape. He can't look like me, bro. Then he needs to join me here on the radio.
He's got out tough, man. They put PJ Tucker on my man, and he just disappeared. He was not ready for the physicality. And so that was the biggest disappointment for me, man. I think he's got to get better. He's got to get tougher. I don't know, he's 32. I mean, it is what it is at this point. I will say on the whole he's throwing a game. If we want to make the jokes about Miami, why would James Harden give up a free ticket to Miami in Game 7 if that was a table for him in the strip clubs?
Yeah.
But man, it's a very tough situation for Philly because they're all in. They've got to run it back with Harden, but he hasn't been the guy for a while. He's got to prove the narrative wrong. I hope he takes it personally. That's why I want.
I don't see him as that guy. That's my problem with him.
I hope so.
I don't think he's that guy.
So even last night, and he got criticized about it a lot, but Joel Embiid was very honest in the post-game comments where he was like, hey, I think we all brought him here expecting him to be Houston James Harden, and look, he's not that guy anymore. Maybe he's just a facilitator. I wanted him to be more aggressive, but maybe that's just who he is. And people were like, oh, you're not supposed to throw your teammate under the bus. That's what you did with Ben Simmons. Nah, I don't want to hear that. If I'm telling my teammate that up in person, then I can tell the public that as well. That's my challenge to him. If you're not tough enough to take that, then you're not built for the city.
Plus, it also gets to the point where you insult everybody's intelligence too, because we know what we're seeing. Don't tell me what we're seeing. And then what are you going to do? Sit there in the podium and say, oh, James is great. He's fantastic. He's just as good.
I hate that. That's fake. It's fake.
Right, exactly.
It's fake. And so everybody's like, oh, Embiid needs to be, say these things and not in the public eye. No, if you need to challenge somebody to be better, you challenge them to be better. Yeah. If Embiid takes onus on himself. After a couple seasons when he was out of shape, in the fourth quarters, you couldn't play him more than 4 minutes because his conditioning was bad. He told you that. He said, my conditioning is bad. I need to get better. And guess what? He got his conditioning better, and now he, as a 7'2", 280-pound big man, he's playing 38, 40 minutes a game. Now we got to get him to stay healthy 82 games, but I'll take the fact that he got his conditioning better. If it's important to you, you take that criticism personally and you go get better. And so I hope that Harden does this offseason. They need it, or Philly's never going to win.
By the way, did you see Trae Young's tweet?
No, what'd he say?
Oh, pull it up, Sean. Let's show Cam Trae Young's tweet last night because they showed a picture of the Heat advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And in that picture, you look at it and you'll see Tyler and Oladipo and Butler and all these guys, right? And Trae goes, y'all better find a way to put Gabe Vincent up there too.
Right. That's funny.
Hey, but you know what? That
Gabe
makes
Vincent's,
me like Trae Young even more because we talk about honesty.
Yep.
That's him saying, "Yo, you better put that kid there because he balled against me.
Yeah.
He made
Yeah.
my life
He
miserable,
locked me
and
up.
he's
He
one of
locked
the
me up.
reasons why I'm watching them on television right now." And I love that Trae Young said that because guys like Gabe Vincent deserve that kind of love. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, I
Absolutely.
know that it tires you, the culture thing. But let me just tell you, for 25 years, we watched the Udonis Haslem. Okay, I covered him as a fat kid at Miami High, winning a state title for Frank
Right.
Martin before he became a college coach. Okay, and he went to Florida and was the fat kid again, dominating. And then he had to do the Europe thing, and then Miami got him, and he lost a human being. And all of a sudden, he became a hell of a player, and he'll be in the rafters when it's all said and done. And whether it's Isaac Austin losing 90 pounds or watching Keon Dooling resurrect his career. This has been going on for 25 years. The stories of
Yep.
the Gabe Vincents of the world and all that kind of stuff. This is what Miami has done, resurrecting so many careers under Pat Riley and this staff. And so you're right. The culture thing might be worn out in other places, but this is the one place where I give it to him, bro, because you come in as a player, and if you sell yourself to them, James Johnson played his best basketball here. He never
Yeah.
played. He was a journeyman. Whiteside played his best basketball here. Tyler Johnson, all those guys that never really did anything else.
Right.
They played their best basketball moments here. And
Yeah.
and it's because there is a culture that if you do come here, it's proven you will get better no matter
Yeah.
what.
One of the most consistent organizations really of the last, 15, 20 years, and obviously they got the prominence, during the Big Three era, but even outside of that, even before that, when Dwayne got here, it kind of started the wheel.
Yeah.
And I think that, I got nothing but respect. I had to talk a little bit because I'm a Philly fan and I had to
No, I
want
get
to
it.
beat them, but I've got a lot of respect. There's certain organizations I don't have a lot of respect for. I have a lot of respect for that Miami organization. They do things the right way. I'm not a big user of the culture word. I think it's overused, but I think if one team can use that word, it's the Heat
Yeah.
because they do it, and
Yeah.
that depth is something.
Well,
The
hey,
depth, the physicality.
The Ravens have
Yep,
a culture, whether you
yep,
like it or not. The effing Ravens have a
right,
culture, and they've had it for different offenses, different
yep,
players. You're a better player when you go to that organization. The Patriots have had their culture. They will make you better. They will find a spot for you, whatever. There are certain organizations that do cross that threshold, that they have a system, they have a way of doing things. And when they bring you in, as long as you kind of follow those steps, you will have the same kind of success that they've been having for many, many years. That's kind of the way it is, you know?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I told my buddy I got a close buddy who's a season ticket holder, and I go to some games with him during the year. We talk on our group chat. I'm like, hey man, I will begrudgingly root for the Heat against the rest of these Eastern Conference teams. Like I wanted Philly to win, but I'd rather see the Heat in the finals than Giannis or definitely Boston. So I will hope for Miami. I'm not a sour grapes guy. Miami beat
Hey,
us
ESPN
fair and
might need you
square.
for a little extra work too, bro. So I mean,
Well,
you know,
I'm not. So I'm
I
not
know
with
you're on
ESPN
NFL
anymore.
Network, but they might bring you over, or CBS or somebody, or NBC
So
or something. They might bring you over. You know, you never know. So you might get a
I,
little
co-
extra work.
I covered a lot of Heat, so I know all these players really well. I was
There
there
you
with
go.
Jimmy Butler's first intro press conference. I still remember the first time I got there. We got there a couple hours early because we were doing TV from there. And the first dude who was there in the gym before they set even the press conference stuff up was Tyler Hero, shooting in the gym, had his music up super loud. He saw us come in, and he was like, "Hey man, sorry, is this music too loud?" He's bumping rap music and whatnot. I'm like, "Hey man, nah, you're good." Do your thing. And that's from that point I was like, hey man, this guy's gonna be good. And I already knew Jimmy was good from my Philly time. And so I got a lot of respect for these dudes. They made the run in the finals in the bubble. They could make another finals run this year. It wouldn't shock me. So I don't think I'll be covering them anytime soon, but I'll be watching them and hoping they give these other teams hell like they gave us during the series.
I'm just hoping that the Dolphins can get to the point where they can give you guys the kind of coverage that you know, it's fun, the playoffs and things like that.
Man, you and me both.
All right, so the schedule comes out yesterday, and let's ask you.
Yeah.
I love the first month because we get a good feel for the Dolphins right from the get-go in those first 4 games. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is they better come out hot early in the season. You know, last year they started 1-7. We've talked a lot in the Brian Flores era. They start off slow, right? And so it's a new coach. Hopefully that turns over. But September and October, they've been a really bad team, and they turn it on November, December. They can't afford that this year. They don't have that luxury. They start off with a softer schedule early, and then that end of the schedule, the last 6 games really stand out to me. It's a difficult point in that schedule where they go to San Fran and LA and Buffalo and 3 back-to-back games. And then I think they have Green Bay on Christmas, and then they have at New England. And that 5-game stretch against teams that are probably playoff contenders, I think is going to define the season. But they've got to start off strong. You know, that first 9 games, 6-3, 7-2, that sort of thing. I think it's important to come off to that type of start. So I think it worked out well, honestly, for Miami, as best as you could hope for it. The end, you're going to have a stretch. And I think you'd rather have it at the end of the season when you're at your best, guys have chemistry, than early in the season where you fall into a hole. So that's probably the biggest thing that stood out to me. They got 2 national TV games, so not
3.
a lot, but
3. No, we 3. Sean's right.
Christmas is
Christmas Day. There's only 3 games. The league played on Saturday,
you're right.
Those 3 games every time they're on. That's the only game in town, dude.
So two primetime games, 3 national TV games. You're right. Yeah, 2 primetime, 3 national TV. That's fine because they got the early game. It's kind of like the Thanksgiving. They're trying to take over Christmas. I did find it interesting, and the NFL would never.
They don't need to try to take over. They just need to show up, and they'll take over whatever the hell it is.
But I'll tell you this, and obviously I work for NFL Network, so hopefully nobody gets mad at me for this. But I thought it was interesting because it's the first time in forever they've had Christmas Day games. That's always been the NBA games, right? And so this year they not only came on Christmas, they came with a lot of the smoke that threatens NBA teams.
Yes.
Like, look at some of those schedules. You got Miami, Green Bay. That's the Milwaukee market and the Miami market. You're telling me that the NBA wouldn't have wanted to put Milwaukee and Miami, which may be the Eastern Conference Finals, on a Christmas Day? And now they're not going to be able to do it because that's blocked off there. They've got Arizona on there. That's the Phoenix Suns. You think they weren't going to want to put the Phoenix Suns there on Christmas Day? They also have Dallas in that game. The Mavs are still going into Game 7.
Yeah, and the Mavs actually win something compared to the Cowboys. So, yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of games in that market that you're like, man, not only did the NFL go after this Christmas Day, they said, we're going to take all your good teams and say, do what you do. So you're going to get a bunch of Knicks games and on Christmas Day and Lakers and all the old school teams that are bad these days because they can't take their actual good teams.
Man, I didn't realize that. What's the third game? Because the
Phoenix Arizona's playing some team.
Tampa? It's Tampa?
Tampa. Arizona, Tampa. So it's going to be a good. Obviously doesn't have a basketball team. But
Rams, Broncos, Dolphins, Packers.
Rams, Broncos, I don't think is Christmas Day. I think it's Packers, Dolphins. It should be Cowboys, Giants, I believe.
No. He's looking at it right now. Sean's looking at the schedule. It's Rams. Open your mic, bro, because it's there.
It's got Rams and Broncos at 4:40 on CBS and Nickelodeon.
So Jokic and anything.
That's it.
Right. Go ahead.
The Bucks are the night game at 8:20 against the Cardinals.
Giannis and CP3 and Booker.
And then of course the 1 o'clock game was your Dolphins against the Packers.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So
Bucks. Yeah.
So no Dallas. It's the Broncos, Rams in that middle game. But yeah, like you said, that's Denver. And that's the Lakers, probably. Lakers or Clippers.
Lakers or Clippers.
They always get one of those games. So, the NFL came with the smoke heavy. And NBA is probably not going to be happy about it, but NFL is king. NFL's always been king.
Well, actually, the Rams are the real team, not the Lakers anyway. So, what the hell? The Lakers are nothing but fluff anyway. So, Okay. All right.
So yeah, it's wild. But yeah, that was my view of the schedule, man. I think that is, I thought it was interesting. They start at home, they end at home. Again, they play the Patriots to start off the season, which they've done a lot. But I think that'll be a good challenge for them. There's been a lot of Mac and Tua talk. We're gonna hype that game up because of that. I bet you I'll be at that game. We talk about like the Dolphins being good. Obviously, I'm not a Dolphins fan, but I want the Dolphins to be good because that means that I get to stay home more. Trust me, I do not like to travel all through the year. So I went to like Nashville like 7 times last year. Cool city, but I do not want to be in Nashville 7 times again this year. I want to be in Miami more. So that means I need to win. So I'm imagining I'm there for week 1, that game versus New England. It'll be a very fun game. And then I think they ended the season with a should be an easy game to me against the Jets. Maybe that's a game that you can. Maybe that's a game that you can clinch a playoff spot. Maybe if they have a great year, maybe you clinch the division that game.
I predict Skyler plays that game because the Dolphins are ahead of the Bills by like 6 games in the standing. So we're all right. Yeah, there you go. That's what's going to happen there. Okay.
So not Teddy, Skyler. They're going all the way down to Skyler. No.
Yeah, they don't really want to risk Teddy. They need to save him for the playoffs just in case they need him.
You say you're backup quarterback.
It's the Jets. We'll give him Skyler. We'll rest all the guys. Lynn Bowden and like Myles Gaskin will be the leading rusher. Those kind of things. We'll just throw all the third stringers out there.
What record do you have the Dolphins in this scenario that Skyler's playing in Game 17?
It's just a 13-4 record.
Oh my goodness! All right, where's the blind fan buzzer, Sean?
Yeah. Where is it, Sean? Where's the blind ass? Where's the blind ass fan alert there? Because I definitely deserve it. Go ahead, fire it off, Sean.
Blind ass fan alert! Look out, everyone! We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
There you go. By the way, Sean's got him 17-0 because he wants them to beat the prior record to end up 20-0 when it's all said and done. So
I definitely was a blind ass fan with the Sixers.
Yes,
you guys are blind ass fans with 17-0 and 13-4. I think the Dolphins will be better. I don't think they'll be 13-4. I think right now. I think
12-5. I'll accept 12-5. That's all right. I mean, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I think you should be happy with if 11-6 works out that way. I think that would be good for the Dolphins.
I know you don't really want to excite people too much and tell them that you really feel it's a 14-3 team, but that's all right. It's all good. Now,
I am not selling hope. That's one thing I will not do to Dolphins fans.
Let's give us some hopium. Come on,
no
bro.
Hopium. I don't want y'all to OD. I do not want the Dolphins fans to OD on the hopium.
I need hopium.
I'll give you little hints throughout the offseason. I'm not gonna give you a full dose. I can't give you the full dose.
As a reporter, what are you looking forward to most seeing this offseason in your rookie camp this weekend? I'm saying.
So I won't be in rookie camp this weekend. I'm actually doing this while I'm at my family's house in Texas. Okay. My sister's actually graduating in a couple hours. So she's getting her master's degree at Texas A&M Commerce. So I'm down here this weekend.
There you go. Somebody has the brains in that family.
I know, right? It sure isn't me.
Yeah, what the hell happened to you, bro? Come on.
Hey, man. Hey, there's always a slacker in every family, right? And so that's my role.
You're the James Harden of the family.
I'm the James Harden of the family. It's the off season, so I'm about to be in the clubs. I'm about to be on the beaches and the yachts. So my shape is probably going to be a little rough. I'm gonna come to training camp, a few extra pounds,
So this is your sister that's getting the master's degree?
Yes.
So she's the Embiid of the family. She's the dominant one.
Yeah. She's just shining, and she's just trying to. She needs more help. She needs more help from the rest of us, and we're not here to give it. So we're here to support, though. We'll support her individual success. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I will not be around for rookie minicamp, but I will be back next week to check out OTAs. Out there to see them play. So I think for me,
celebrate her graduation James Harden style by making it rain.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. If I'm the James Harden of the family, we got to do it right. We can't just like half do it.
All right. I'll make sure.
If there's one thing that James Harden's good at is making sure to celebrate. you know, and making sure you have a good time. So
you're in Houston, you said?
Role.
You're in Houston?
No, I'm actually in Dallas.
Dallas.
I'm in Dallas. So I was in Houston earlier this week because I've got some family out there too. So I went to go see some of my family in Houston. Went to go see the rest of them here. So I'll be here through the weekend.
First time I went to, well, not first time because I used to go to Houston when I was a kid, but when I last went, the first time I went to Houston like years ago, I freaked out that like here Spanish is normal to see signs in Spanish. Over there, Chinese signs. I'm like, I didn't realize how big the Chinese community is in Houston. That even some of the street signs and stuff will be in Chinese, and they're like, wow,
so much diversity, man. Like I know in Miami they talk about it being a different culture, but to be honest, a lot of the culture is Latin culture, right? And so in Houston, it's everything. You know, you're gonna have like every type of Latin culture. You're gonna have Black, you're gonna have Chinese, you're gonna have white. Like I don't even know what the majority is in Houston. I think it's just like all 10% of everything.
But a Spanish sign, I would not freak out in Houston. Okay, that's normal, obviously, because the Mexican community has always been enormous in Texas. But bro, when I started seeing Chinese signs, I'm like, wow, dude, that's impressive. That must mean, and I would imagine from the Yao Ming days, that probably also influenced a lot from back then. I don't know, who knows? But
yeah, absolutely. There's a big, because like if you remember, Jeremy Lin played out there in Houston, and like I remember covering games down there in Houston, and there were literally the Chinese media had 3 times as many media as the American media. At the Houston Rockets games because of Jeremy Lin. So just that it's a huge following. Like a lot of the Chinese community follows the NBA. And so we get caught in our bubble here in America and think that everything's America based. But like F1 this past week and like some of these cities kind of teach you just how much international communities have views of our leagues, whether it be NBA, NFL, whatever it is. So definitely a big melting pot in Houston. And so, I went to school out there, so I got to experience a lot of it firsthand.
Catch him at the NFL Network, not this weekend because he'll be making it rain at his sister's graduation, which is a good thing. And then, of course, follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch him twice a week doing his thing here with our KSDT CPA Miami Dolphins NFL report. Cam, have a great weekend, my friend. Congratulations to your sister. Thank you for taking some time, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
You got it. There you go. Cameron Wolfe, baby. KSDT CPA.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.